Gio, man, back with another crazy one, man. This right here, man, it's about your boy Trump, man. He ain't playing. He got a lot of things he's having taken in place, and he got a new team that he's setting up. He said he's gonna work on with the Federal Reserve as well, man. The illegal immigrants, man. He's helping out with the taxes and overtime, and man, he got a lot of things that he got that he's working on that's going in effect, man. He said that border's going up. Man, it's so much information this dude said, man, that he provided. Y'all gonna love it. And let's just break this down. They said that Kamala really wasn't gonna do any of that type of stuff, man. From him and his perspective, he said that he's gonna make sure that he get into the in depth, I would say more in depth into the scenario with the celebrities and all of the things that they got going on, the Epstein stuff, the tapes. Kamala, she had all these celebrities supporting her because allegedly, they're saying that she's in the mix and everything. And man, he's about to shake up the world, man. Like, this is crazy, crazy information, man. Like, wow. I don't even know, man. Like, all I can say is everybody need to get prepared, get set. It's a lot that's gonna be changing. When y'all check this video out, man, y'all gonna see like a lot of the things he's getting in depth with, man. And this is quick. He's even gonna have JFK working with him, to help clean up some of the stuff that need to be cleaned up, man. Elon, y'all gotta see the list of the names, man, that he's about to have, working with him, man. This is epic, man. This is big. Um, they said a lot of the changes already done taking place before he even been sworn in. Like I said, again, one time before, so it's gonna be different. It's gonna be big, man, and a lot of people better get prepared. And these immigrants, man, y'all gonna get some time if y'all, you know, leave and then come back. They said that maximum 10. I ain't gonna say maximum, but they said minimum 10 years with no parole. Then you got to go back, or you have to do the time there. And they said for the families that have to split up, this is crazy too. They said so if you if let's say if you got to go back, but your kids can stay. He said, it's a way to bring y'all together still. He said, all y'all can just go back so that way you'll be with your whole family. I'm like, man, this dude's cut and dry, man. He said all the drug dealers and all that stuff, man, the cartels, he said he's getting in the mix. He said he's shutting all of that down. Like, down. That's crazy. Like, this dude ain't playing. He said they should have the death penalty. The big guys that's doing, yeah, they should have the death penalty. And y'all think about that, man. He said it's the only way it's gonna work. He said your boy Putin, man. Hey, he said he ain't playing that either. He said that's why it's down. So that's something for everybody to think about. He said the only way to stop that is to get him to death. Man, this is about to be definitely something that everybody got to take heed to and really check this video out, man. This is crazy, man. And I'm giving y'all the bits and pieces. I'm not gonna give y'all the whole full thing, with me talking. I'm gonna give y'all something, but y'all gotta have the tea at the end, man. Y'all gonna see it in the video itself, so that way you can really see in depth, and then we can talk about it in the comments. So let me know what y'all think when y'all check that out. Go in the comments, man. Let's talk about that. Hit that subscribe button, man. As always, man, love your support, man. The love. Y'all will catch me on live soon. I've been getting as many videos situated and set and everything with the platform and everything. And y'all will be seeing me on live, so y'all stay tuned for that. It's gonna be a lot of great things coming up, man, moving forward. And shout out to y'all, the family, man. Once again, without y'all, man, couldn't do it, man. Appreciate y'all's support as always, man. Peace, love, and happiness, man. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. I'm out.
The only way you're going to stop this is the death penalty for drug dealers. I don't know if this country is ready for it, but if you think about it, each drug dealer on average kills 500 people on average. Mm-hmm. He or she, drug dealer, kills five. I know so many families who have lost a son or a daughter or parents even to fentanyl. And I had a deal worked out with China, with President Xi directly, that he was going to give. He said to him, do you have a drug problem? When I first met him, he looked at me like, what a stupid question.
Exactly.
He said, no drug problem. I said, well, what do you do? Death penalty, immediate death penalty. And I said, that sounds... He said, without it, I talked to him a lot about it. He said, without it, China was a drug-loaded country years ago. Other countries, much smaller, would take it over because they were all
wasted,
drugged out with the opium and the poppy, and they had a big problem. But they execute drug dealers. They have absolutely no drug problem. Singapore has no drug problem. And it's not nice to talk about, but it's the only way you're going to solve the problem. You're never going to have... when I call these people smart, the press always says, he said he was smart. I'm supposed to say they're not intelligent people. President Xi in China controls 1.4 billion people with an iron hand, no drug problems. You know why they have no drug problems? Death penalty for the drug dealers. Death penalty, right? You want to solve your drug problem? You have to institute a meaningful death penalty for drug dealers. A drug dealer, and you, by the way, you have it worse than any other state proportionately. I don't understand New Hampshire, for whatever reason, you have a worse drug problem per capita than any other state. Nobody's explained that. Maybe you talk to the governor about that also, by the way. Why is that? You have the worst drug problem per capita in the entire nation. You have an unbelievable fire department and police department. They do such a good job. They spend most of their time saving people from overdoses and other things. Your police here and your fire here are incredible, I have to tell you. I met a lot of them backstage. I said, they spend a lot of their time. They spend almost most of their time on that, but they're incredible, the job. Yeah, you ought to talk to your governor about that, because that's something that something should happen. But you want to really stop it. When I was in the White House, I would set up blue ribbon committees. And I'd get socialites. Everybody wanted to be on committees, right? They'd call in from Park Avenue, from Fifth Avenue, New York. Oh, I'd love to be on the committee, any committee. Well, we're going to put you on a blue ribbon committee on stopping drugs and drug abuse and stopping the caravans from pouring. Oh, what's a caravan? They had no idea. And they'd sit around, very prestigious people, and they'd talk for a little while, and then they'd get onto society and social and where are you going to be tonight? I'm going to be dining at Le Cirque tonight. But, they go into, and it's not the way. You can't do it. The only thing they understand is force. And if you want to stop your problem, and you have the single biggest problem in the country from what I see in New Hampshire, I don't know why, proportionately, you need the death penalty. If you give the death penalty to drug dealers, you will have no more problem. You will have no more problem. We cut it down 21%, and that was great. I did that without doing this. When I was in China, and I told this story a couple of times, maybe you've heard it, but I was with President Xi, strong man, and I said, you don't have a drug problem, do you? No, we don't have no drug problem. We don't have drug. He looked at me like, what the hell? Of course I don't. 1.4, think of it, 1.4 billion people, no drug problem. I said, what do you attribute that to? He said, quick trial. I said, quick trial? What's quick trial? We give quick trial. We give very quick trial to drug dealers. If somebody's selling drugs, we give them it's a one-day trial. They give them a trial, and if they're guilty, which I would say probably 120% of the time they're guilty approximately 120% of the time. But they execute, and they have the death penalty for drug dealers. So now if you're a drug dealer, you'll say, I think I'm going to take a pass on this particular country. Let's go to the United States, where they don't even give you a summons, all right? They don't do anything. And that's why we have the problem. If you want to do the real job, and a lot of people, I just don't know if our country's ready for it, but what could be worse than losing, I think, 350,000? You know, you don't hear those numbers. They always say 100,000. They've been saying 100,000 people for the last, 15 years, would you say? It's 100,000. Oh, yes, we lose 100. That's a lot of people. That you take your largest stadium and you fill it up twice, right? No good. But it's 100,000, they say. But even if it was 100, but it's not. It's 350,000 people you're losing, and you're destroying your homes. You ever see what happens to a family, a father, a mother, when they lose their son or their daughter to drugs? That family is destroyed. 10 years later, they're destroyed. It can never be the same. And these people do it. The average drug dealer kills 500 people a year. Think of it. The average drug dealer over the course of his or her life will kill and I think that's a low number, but they say kills 500 people a year. And they don't mention the families that are destroyed to go along with their children and seniors and everything else that are killed. I mean, a lot of people are killed, but you think of it in terms of young people. But the average one kills 500, so why wouldn't you do the death penalty? It's actually humane if you think about it. Why wouldn't you do it? As Singapore does the death penalty, they have no drugs whatsoever, no drugs whatsoever. Other countries do them. Many countries do it, but they have no drugs whatsoever. And we're becoming a drug haven. You know, China many years ago was being taken over by much smaller countries because they were all drugged out on the poppy fields, the drugs, heroin, different drugs, but they were all drugged out. The nation was drugged out, and then along came a very powerful leader. You know who that is? And he said, no more. And from that time pretty much until now, they've been strong, but they were all drugged out, and our nation's becoming that way, okay? Our nation's becoming that way. You look at our nation, it's that you almost say, how does it survive when so many people are absolutely sick from drugs and drug overdose and all of the things that go with it? Our nation, remember, China was taken over by many different forces, much smaller, much weaker than them. Now they're strong. But our nation's not so much different. We have a large percentage of our people are drugged out and won't help us in terms of making America great again. We have to help them, and we should help them. But we could stop this scourge if we would do it properly. And just out of curiosity, it's interesting. We're all friends. The death penalty sounds harsh. Thank you very much. But the death penalty, it's funny. They say, oh, he's conservative. It's not that I'm conservative. I have common sense. I want to have a border. We want to have free elections. We want to have low interest rates. We want to have school. I will use Title 42 to end the child trafficking crisis by returning all trafficked children to their families in their home countries and without delay. And I will urge Congress to ensure that anyone caught trafficking children across our border receives the death penalty immediately. And that includes also for women, because women, as you know, are number one in trafficking. Children are actually number two. I want to thank Eduardo, Jim, Tim Ballard, and everyone else involved in this film for their incredible efforts and their great genius. Together, we will end the scourge of human trafficking, and we will defend the dignity of human life. Thank you very much. I would have executions on major drug dealers, perhaps the raping of a child, the killing of a police officer, the people that violently kill people. The average drug dealer kills 500 people during that person's lifetime. If you're going to stop the drug epidemic, you're going to have a death penalty. Anybody that kills a police officer should go through the death penalty. Seventh, I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line. On day one, I will launch the largest deportation program in American history.
Overnight, President-elect Donald Trump announcing a key role in his new administration, writing that Tom Homan will oversee the nation's borders and will also, quote, be in charge of all deportation of illegal aliens back to their country of origin. Homan, the former ICE acting director, has been an outspoken critic of the current administration.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
He was also a supporter of Trump's controversial zero-tolerance policy, which led to thousands of families being separated at the southern border. Homan recently asked on 60 Minutes about Trump's future mass deportation plans.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Here's my plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all. And corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption, and there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. Sixth, we will make every Inspector General's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. Eighth, we will continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies, and then they want to take jobs from these companies. Doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to oppose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
Less than 1 week after his victory, President Trump is wasting no time announcing his picks for some top positions. And he's also talking about who won't be in his administration.
President-elect Donald J. Trump.
Following a resounding victory, Republicans say President-elect Donald Trump is heading into office with a mandate.
The people of this country voted. They want to get this country back on track.
And first on the agenda, filling up his top posts. Last night on Truth Social, Trump announced former ICE Director Tom Homan will be his border czar, in charge of keeping this campaign promise.
We will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
Homan mentioned what that could look like in an interview on 60 Minutes last month.
There'll be targeted arrests. We'll know who we're going to arrest, where we're most likely to find them based on numerous investigative processes.
Trump has also nominated one of his top allies in Congress, New York Congresswoman Elise Stefanik, to serve as ambassador to the United Nations. Other high-level staffing discussions are still underway. CBS News has learned Republican Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, a staunch opponent of Ukraine aid, is being considered for Secretary of State, along with Senator Marco Rubio and former Director of National Intelligence Rick Grenell. Two big names that won't be serving in the next Trump administration, according to the president-elect, are his former UN ambassador, Nikki Haley, and former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Trump is putting a premium on loyalty as he decides who will fill his cabinet. Meanwhile, Democrats are still grappling with what went wrong. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi pointed to Biden's late exit from the race and lack of a contest to replace him. But others, like independent Senator Bernie Sanders, continue to point to something deeper.
Bottom line, if you're an average working person out there, do you really think that the Democratic Party is going to the mats, taking on powerful special interests and fighting for you? I think the overwhelming answer is no.
President-elect Trump is also weighing in on the Senate leadership race now that the GOP has taken control of that chamber. In a post, he said that whoever wins should allow him to make recess appointments that don't require Senate approval, but would be temporary, and that they shouldn't approve any judges until he takes.
3 years from now, the United States will celebrate the biggest and most important milestone in our country's history. 250 years of American independence. What a great country. We have to keep it that way. But that's why, as a nation, we should be preparing for a most spectacular birthday party. We want to make it the best of all time. Here is my plan to give America's founding in 1776 the incredible anniversary it truly deserves. On day one, I will convene a White House task force called Salute to America 250. It will be responsible for coordinating with state and local governments to ensure not just one day of celebration, but an entire year of festivities across the nation, starting on Memorial Day 2025 and continuing through July 4th, 2026. Second, I will work with all 50 governors, Republican and Democrat alike, to create the Great American State Fair, a unique one-year exhibition featuring pavilions from all 50 states. It'll be something. The Great American State Fair will showcase the glory of every state in the Union, promote pride in our history, and put forth innovative visions for America's future. My hope is that the amazing people of Iowa will work with my administration to open up the legendary Iowa State Fairgrounds to host the Great American State Fair and welcome millions and millions of visitors from around the world to the heartland of America for this special one-time festival. Together we will build it and they will come. Third, alongside the Great American State Fair, we will host major sporting contests for high school athletes. These are great athletes, wonderful athletes from fantastic high schools all around the country. These Patriot Games will allow young Americans from every state to show off the best of American skills, sportsmanship, and competitive spirit. Fourth, I will sign an executive order to bring back our National Garden of American Heroes, which we want to build very badly, commission artists for the first 100 statues to populate this new statuary park honoring the greatest Americans of all time. Fifth, as president, I will invite the leaders and citizens of nations around the world to visit the United States in honor of our 250th anniversary. It's going to be great. America's tourist industry should get ready because we're going to have a lot of people coming. It will be a record year. And finally, and most importantly, I will ask America's great religious communities to pray for our nation and our people as we prepare for this momentous occasion. From the very beginning, America has been a country sustained and strengthened by prayer and by our communities of faith. As we chart a course toward the next 250 years, let us come together and rededicate ourselves as one nation under God. Thank you. Kamala, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired.
After Trump became the U.S. president again, here are the 3 things he will do now immediately. Number 3, massive tax cuts. Trump is aiming to lower the top individual income tax rate from 37% to 33% and reducing the corporate tax rate even further, potentially below 20%. These reductions would generate economic activity worth billions, benefiting middle-income earners with estimated savings of $1,000 to $2,000 per household. Number 2, Trump would immediately restart building the U.S.-Mexico border wall, allocating billions of dollars to continue construction. He plans to deploy at least 20,000 additional federal agents to enhance border security. During his first term, federal spending on border enforcement reached $23 billion annually. Expect even more funding and stricter policies aiming to drive down illegal crossings. Number 1, tougher urban crime policies. Trump has proposed spending over $2 billion on federal programs to bolster law enforcement and public safety. He aims to offer financial support to police departments nationwide while also encouraging community policing initiatives. He would back increased funding for security measures, emphasizing the Second Amendment.
She put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. That would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
To the young people who are watching, it is... I love you. To the young people who are watching, it is okay to feel sad and disappointed, but please know it's going to be okay. On the campaign, I would often say, when we fight, we win. But here's the thing. Sometimes the fight takes a while. That doesn't mean we won't win. The important thing is don't ever give up. Don't ever give up. Don't ever stop trying to make the world a better place. You have power. And don't you ever listen when anyone tells you something is impossible because it has never been done before. You have the capacity to do extraordinary good in the world. And so to everyone who is watching, do not despair. This is not a time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves.
After Kamala Harris lost the elections, here are the 3 things she will not be able to do from now. Number 3, she will not run for president again, simply because she wasn't actively chosen as the Democratic frontrunner to replace Joe Biden. Rather, her role as vice president naturally positioned her as a prominent figure in case President Biden decided not to run. However, Joe Biden remains the clear favorite among Democratic voters for 2024, with support consistently above 70% in polls. Number 2, fall from national relevance. Her reduced visibility in the next 4 years may mean a gradual decline in public recognition, making it harder for her to regain momentum. Without a powerful platform, she might struggle to maintain relevance among other emerging Democratic leaders who attract more support and attention. Number 1, lose immediate access to the White House. Without her VP role, Harris won't have easy access to key decision makers in the White House anymore. She won't be part of the daily, high-level strategy discussions and will have limited influence over presidential actions, leaving her sidelined from shaping the nation's agenda or being able to propose new large-scale initiatives like she did while serving as second in command.
Kamala Harris's campaign ended up with millions of dollars in debt, reportedly, and a lot of questions and accusations. A Politico reporter wrote the Harris team had $118 million in the bank, but ended with at least $20 million in debt. There are reports this morning Harris staffers are starting to talk about the campaign blowing through $1 billion in a few months with lavish concerts and bills that still needed to be paid. Now, other political reporters say the campaign is selling its email list and soliciting more donations from supporters to cover the debt. Harris outspent Trump by nearly $1 billion on her failed election bid.